Recently here on the channel, I brought you along for the ride as I wrote, recorded, and finally released my punk song called Goats using the free Amuse distribution platform. So in this video, I'm going to sum everything up and let you know my overall experience using Amuse to release my music. Let's go. Hi, my name is Pete, and this is Studio Live Today, where I help you create, record, and release your best music. And releasing is what we're talking about here because there are a number of different ways to release your music. You can release it through YouTube just by putting a YouTube video out using SoundCloud. But if you want to get onto Spotify, Apple Music, Google Music, all of the other music streaming platforms, then you need a distributor. And for the longest time, I've been using DistroKid, and I still use DistroKid. They're a great service. For $20 a year, you can upload and release an unlimited number of songs. So I do still highly recommend DistroKid. Check the link down in the description. But a lot of folks were telling me about Amuse, which is not only a free distribution platform, but allows you to release directly from your mobile device, which is something that DistroKid doesn't allow. So I had to try it out. And in a recent video, I showed you how I actually released my song. You can check that one up there if you haven't already seen it. So in this one, we're going to revisit that. Now that the song is released, I'm going to let you know how it all happened, how it came together, and my overall view of Amuse as a distribution service. All right, I've moved over a little bit because through the magic of editing, I'm popping my screen up right here, right now, and here is the Amuse app. So number one thing that I like about Amuse is that you can do everything through the app. The thing that I don't really understand is that you can't do a lot of the things we're going to show here through the website. So that's one thing I mentioned in my last video. You log on to the amuse.io website and you can't actually see your information, your stats, and your releases. You can release a new song, but you can't actually look at a previous release. So I find that a little bit strange. But anyway, here we are in the app. We can come in here and we can look at music. Now, I've only got one release here. If I want to do a new release, I can tap on there and it will do a bunch of processing, apparently, and then it will eventually ask me. I don't want to do that right now, so we're just going to go backwards. Delete, I guess. Delete, release. Wait. That sounded a bit intense. I hope I didn't just delete my goat song. So here we go. We've got goats here. Now we can tap down the bottom. We can go to activity and we're going to see the paltry number of people that have listened to this song. So I haven't really been promoting the song. It's only just been released. That's my excuse anyway. But go and listen to it. There's a link down below. Go Spotify and Apple Music it. Anyway, I think it's a pretty cool song. So here we can see the activity. We can see how many streams I've had. My best streaming day was 2. My streams have been 7. And I'm assuming over time as it's released for longer, we'll get some nice graphs and activity down here. We can tap on the streams here and get a graph, which doesn't show much at this point, and downloads as well, so we can see how many times it's been downloaded. So this is a pretty cool option because the stats in DistroKid in the free version, you don't get a whole lot in the way of stats there. So this is pretty cool here. The money, I don't have anything yet, so I'm happy to show you that because it'll just tell me this, waiting for payouts. So I will revisit this once we get to the point, but as it says here, can be between 6 weeks and 6 months, depending on the service. So it's going to take a while before we have our payouts there. The other options we have here in the app, we can tap in the top left here and we can just go to our account and look at our details here. I won't go into that in too much detail because, yeah, you can look around an account, but you can see there your artist profile, you can see the legal information, you can read all about Amuse, and that's probably something that I wanted to mention here because ever since I did my first couple of videos, folks have asked me a couple of questions, which is, would you now prefer Amuse over DistroKid, and which one should I go for if I'm about to release my music? Would I use Amuse or DistroKid? What's the difference? So here's the key differences in my experience. So Amuse is free. Amuse can be done via mobile, so those are two very good things right up front, and it is an easy way to release, but they do ask you a lot of specific questions, so you do have to go through the ringer with your album artwork and with your naming conventions and things like that. DistroKid does similar, but Amuse just seemed to have a few more hurdles to jump over, but once you actually got it out, the time it takes to release, Amuse takes quite a lot longer, so a minimum of 2 weeks, and the other issue I had with Amuse is that it didn't release to Apple Music at the same time. So it was 2 weeks, and then it was on Spotify and Google Play and Amazon, but it wasn't on Apple Music. So I went out and said, hey, my single's available, and then checked and realized it hadn't been released to Apple Music yet. Now, I checked in the frequently asked questions, and it said, yep, sometimes it takes an extra couple of days to get to Apple Music. It was about 5 days later before it actually showed up. So it's there now, and again, check out the links down below if you want to have a listen to it. But it just took a little bit longer. So DistroKid, by contrast and comparison, comparison. It's very quick and easy to upload, but you can only do it from a desktop. So you can use some browsers on your mobile device to work around that, but it's easier to do using a Mac or a PC. So that's probably a limitation of DistroKid. Obviously, it costs you, so DistroKid does cost you to do it, but what do you get for that cost? On top of what Amuse has is the ability to get quick releases out, so you can release things a lot faster. There's additional options that you have in there as well around some of your metadata. You can upload lyrics. You can do a bunch of other things with DistroKid that I'll be covering here on the channel in the future, but there's other things that are slightly different as well. So Amuse actually lets you name your record label for free, which DistroKid doesn't do until you get to the paid version, the $35 Musician Plus account, which is a worthwhile upgrade. You also don't have, in Amuse, you don't have the ability to change anything, so to really specify release date, to do pre-releases, to change the pricing, things like that. So there's some additional options. So the way it breaks down here is the DistroKid, you pay for it, it's quicker, and it has more options, generally, apart from that record label name thing. Amuse is free, and it takes longer, and you have less options. So that's the way I tend to break it down, is that a free service like this, yep, it works for free, but you have to accept some of those limitations and some of the things that take a little bit longer. The other thing to keep in mind with Amuse is, I've said this before, but as any time that a product is free, then you are the product. So in the case of Amuse, their business model is that they will release your music 100% for free to your streaming platforms. You get 100% of the revenue back. The difference is, though, that if they really like a song, they can choose to actually propose a deal, and then they will get 50% of that. So if they really like your song and they're like, yep, this is going to be popular, you've released it through Amuse, then it's going to be Amuse that are going to be coming to you saying, hey, if you want to have a deal with this, you've released it through Amuse, then we are going to look to take a 50% cut of that. Now, again, if you don't think you're going to have that, and you still have to choose to actually accept that, but it's something to keep in mind, because you do need to think about what is the revenue model. So for DistroKid, they want to get as many people to sign up for $20 a year so that they can get that revenue and use that to help release the music. For something like Amuse, it's a different model. So keep that in mind. If you want more complete control over your music, then maybe choose something like DistroKid or CD Baby or TuneCore or one of the other platforms. Amuse, it's going to be slightly different. So the other thing that is cool, but also a bit strange, and I mentioned this in a previous video, which I'll link up there as well. When I released to Amuse, I selected the YouTube content ID, and then I released a video using my own song under my Pete Johns name, as opposed to Fear Cut that I used for this, and it flagged it. So good advertisement for how well Content ID works, but the challenge there was that, yeah, it then sort of pushed it back and said, no, you can't monetize this content on your YouTube channel because this song is owned by Fear Cut on behalf of Amuse. So just keep those sort of things in mind, that if you're going to, say you write a song and then you want to use that as backing tracks for a podcast or for a YouTube video or something else, and you've released it to Amuse, it's going to flag that. Every time you use that song, it's going to flag it, which could be a good thing, or it may be something that's a challenge. But again, you can choose which stores you actually distribute to. So yes, if you want to do something different, then you can actually just not release it to YouTube, and then you'll be fine. So things to keep in mind. Finally, the releasing of cover songs. Now, this leads me into what a future video is going to be. If you're in the future, that'll be linked up there right now. You'll be able to already check it out. But I'm working on a very simple stripped-down cover of The Final Countdown by Europe, and I'm going to test releasing that here using Amuse, because you can release covers for free with Amuse. You can't. It costs you an extra $1 a month, I think, to release a cover with DistroKid. But there's some rules and regulations and things to work around with how we release a cover with Amuse. So I'm going to be covering, pun intended, that in a future video, so be on the lookout for that one. But for now, that is going to do it. My song is out now. Check it out in the links below. Goats by Fear Cut. Thanks for watching. So would I recommend Amuse, and will I be using it instead of DistroKid? Well, I'm actually going to be using both, because I think that they serve different purposes and I like them for different reasons. If you're just starting out and you want to do something completely for free and you understand all of the things we've talked about, you can use Amuse. Otherwise, DistroKid is still a great option. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next video.